everyone, it's Curious Raven. How are y'all doing today? I hope everybody is great. It is a very good Thursday. How's everybody's week? I always love when y'all write me stuff in the comments because it makes me feel more connected to y'all, and I just love talking to y'all. So I wouldn't mind hearing how y'all's week went and how everything's going and what y'all think about the stories, and we can just banter back and forth. But I do have 7 stories for you today. It's kind of a mixed bunch of stories. Number 1. So I grew up in a very haunted house, and I have literally stories for days of stuff that happened to me. One specific story right now, because today is the 10th anniversary of the event. So 10 years ago, I was still living with my parents in my childhood home. So on this day, it was the afternoon, and there was a small house fire in our next door neighbor's house. There was no chance of it spreading, so I was in the bathroom getting ready for work. I suddenly hear my dad call my name. "Hey, Sarah." And I went to go look for him, realizing that the house was empty and my dad was across the street outside looking at the fire. This scared me so bad that whatever was in the house knew my name and could mimic my father. But then after talking about it with my mom, we realized that something like this happened before. My grandma used to live with us, and one time she got so mad saying my mom was calling her name. My mom wasn't. Wondering if anyone has any insight on this. Thank you for reading. Number 2. When I was young, I always feared a specific part of the hallway in front of my room. At night I couldn't leave my room because I knew something was there standing, though I couldn't see anything. A couple years later, I moved to the room at the other side of the hallway, but still felt there was something in that specific place, which is in front of the bathroom of my old room. I know there's something staring at me from there. I can't see my old room from my actual room, and it creeps me out every now and then. There was one day actually where I asked if someone was there, and later that day I saw from the side of my eye a woman with black hair and a white old summer shirt. She had no face, and I knew she is the one that still watched me from that specific spot. I haven't seen her since, but she hasn't left. It's awkward every time I go to the bathroom or sit at my desk in front of my door, where I can see my old room and the bathroom. What should I do? I mean, she hasn't tried to hurt me, and she hasn't moved in a while. Any thoughts? Number 3. So growing up, I've never been around any spirits. I've always seen shows about it, but never believed it to be true until recently. I've moved into a new place with my girlfriend, and growing up, she said she had been around spirits, but personally not me. My girlfriend has said she had something whisper in her ear while no one being home. Recently, I personally have been noticing, I guess, what you can call activity. We were watching TV one night when all of a sudden we hear footsteps walking up the stairs, and then they stop. Now it's a pretty old house. By now, I've digested what noise it was, and these were literally stair steps, as if someone was walking up the stairs. Literally having goosebumps just thinking about it. I didn't say anything to her, as I heard they feed off fear. I didn't want to make my girlfriend scared, so we didn't speak on it until another day when she brought it up. After this incident, I recall and my girlfriend having a conversation that led to her telling me she feels a presence inside our room at night right by the door. She says she feels like it watches us sleep. My girlfriend says it may be a lost soul, as it hasn't harmed us in any way, but it has played tricks, to say the least, like turning off lights, moving a spray can right in front of me while I was in the bathroom, I don't know much, but I know that if it has a mentality to play tricks, then a malicious intent may not be too far behind. But tonight, I feel I got a small taste of what's to come. Tonight, I felt what my girlfriend feels at night. I got up to use the restroom, and when I got back, something just felt off. I just felt like I was being watched. I shrugged it off and tried to go back to sleep. Been up for the past 3 hours. Every time I try and go to sleep, I hear a noise in the same area my girlfriend referred to. I just felt like I was being watched. I shrugged it off and tried to go back to sleep. Been up for the past 3 hours. Every time I try and go to sleep, I hear a noise in the same area my girlfriend referred to. It's like if something drops. It's hard to describe. Nonetheless, it keeps me awake. I try to shrug it off. Now the part that scares me. Let me give a little background into the info before. When I go to sleep, I usually don't struggle at all. I fall asleep ever since I was a kid. I learned to clear my mind before going to sleep. I find it's the fastest way to sleep. And I'm not different than anyone else. Some nights I find myself up thinking, but I can combat this by focusing. And that always does the trick since I can remember, but not tonight. I may sound crazy, but this time, even when I focused, I don't know how to describe it. A thought would come in my mind, but it didn't feel like mine. I need help. If anyone can please shine some light and give advice. I've done a little research and I'm hearing that I need a spirit guide, but I don't know where to begin to get one or in the route I should go. If anyone can help me, it would be greatly appreciated. Number 4. My parents were divorced, so I grew up in 2 houses in the UK. The first house was 650 years old. Wonky floors, low doorways, servants' living area and main living area, the lot. Had many spooky situations there. Second house was 100 years old. It was for sale when we bought it because the owner had died of cancer. In my house, later found out it was in my bedroom. Thanks, Mom. I saw this man sitting on a chair in my room once when I was a child, which was when I was told about the death of the previous owner after telling my mom what I saw. Anyway, throughout my life in both of these houses, I have consistently heard someone saying my name. Not always the same voice, and sometimes it would sound like a voice of my own living family members. I'd shout down to them to see what they wanted, and they had never called me. It happened at least once a week. 10 years later, I haven't heard it for ages. Then a few days ago, I was falling asleep in my house, built in 1838. I clearly heard my boyfriend shout for me. I got up to see what he wanted, as if he was downstairs watching TV. When I got down, he was asleep on the sofa. I thought he was messing with me, so I woke him up, and it was clear he was genuinely had been asleep. So am I haunted? I am worried it was schizophrenia. But considering it stopped for years and years, I'm thinking it's not. Number 5. I have had many experiences with ghosts, and I am a fan of those sorts of things, and I tend to get myself into trouble with spirits. I do, however, need advice on if this was an encounter with a ghost because I'm not sure myself. Back when I was a little girl, maybe around 4 or 5, I remember being at my stepdad's apartment with my mom and 2 stepsisters. Me and my stepsisters were playing with the computer when we heard a thump in the closet. The closet was located right behind the computer, but a wall was separating the closet and us. Anyways, we peek over to see a Halloween decor scarecrow peeking out of the now very open glass closet doors. It was facing us and leaning out sideways, like it was purposely looking at us. Of course, we screamed and called for our parents that were sitting on the balcony having a smoke. I know it might sound silly, but I was very positive it was a ghost or spirit because his apartment was frequently engaged with paranormal activity, like drawers opening and doors slamming and footsteps in the middle of the night when everyone was asleep. I think about this so often. Not that I'm scared anymore, I'm just wondering if it was an encounter or something along the lines of that. Number 6. I used to feed a stray dog. Let's call him Brown. I had known for 2 years since he was a pup. He was a very playful and excited dog, as some of us like. One night he was acting strange, scared to be precise. He was terrified and seemed disturbed. I allowed him inside my house for the night. Middle of the night, around 2 a.m., he started crying and barked aggressively. I allowed him into my bed. Fast forward into the next morning, he vanished. I tried searching the floors, but no trace. A few months later, another stray pup came into my life. As usual, I feed him every day. After a few months, he behaved exactly the same. Completely terrified of something or someone, but he wouldn't stop shaking. I allowed him in my house, but the same scenario replayed. Middle of the night, he managed to crawl out and ran into the woods. I searched the forest in the morning. I don't know what is happening. Were they possibly sick? Is this normal? Should I inform on the authorities? I asked the same in a few other communities, praying for something rational and scientific. As the days pass, I'm getting more paranoid. I failed to mention my previous experience in the post, but I had a dog named Pinchu, and he too exhibited same behavior and then vanished. In conclusion, this is the 3rd time this has occurred. Number 7. It had been a couple of months since my niece was last over at my place. And over this past weekend, my niece slept over and she told me some freaky ass shit. It was getting close to bedtime and she was extremely scared to go to bed. She began to tell me she has a demon at her home and she was scared it followed her to my place. She began to tell me how this demon looked. She said it was very tall, big, huge horns, bright glowing red eyes, and sometimes wears a pink outfit. I didn't want to ask too many questions because truthfully it was scaring the shit out of me. She's only 8 years old, but she does love horror films. I told her she should maybe lay off the scary movies a bit. I saged my entire place, explained to her it helps cleanse and get rid of negative energy. She thankfully had a good night's sleep. Told my brother about it the next day, and he had no idea that this was happening at home. My question is, has anyone else gone through something like this? Seen this exact thing? Heard of this exact thing? Can't stop thinking about it. And truthfully, very worried for her. She's been through so much. She lost her mom to COVID 2 years ago. Her aunt was shot and killed 3 months ago. Her other grandma has tried to commit unaliving twice. And she lives with my mother and other brother who aren't the best of people. So death and negative energy is always near her. Okay, everyone, I hope that you enjoyed this collection of stories. When I usually read these stories, some people ask questions, and I always want to respond to them within the story, give the best advice I can. I'm not a professional or anything like that, and then I thought about maybe doing sometimes, maybe once a month, the ones that are very interesting, and the ones that I can actually give really good advice about. I thought about reading them on a live stream and then giving that advice and then letting y'all chime in. What do y'all think about that? Let me know in the comments below. I love y'all so much. I will see y'all for this Saturday's creepypasta story. Remember, every Saturday from now on will be creepypasta Saturdays. I'll see y'all then. Remember, it's scary out there, and stay safe. Please like and subscribe.
I live inside my own world of make-believe. Kids screaming in the cradles, profanities. I see the world through ice covered in ink and bleach. Cross